This is Rebecca, and at 35 years old, she's already filed for bankruptcy. How much did you had in debt at the time?
I had $28,000.
Okay, so judgment comes in March, 6 months in the process. What's the outcome?
It got completed.
Wiped out.
Wiped out, yeah.
So you get a second shot at life, pretty much.
Yeah.
And now with a new life, Rebecca has two options: continuing on a financial destruction or take action to save her future. Which one will she take? Welcome to Finance Action, the show where we take action. My name is Romain, and today I have the pleasure to be with Rebecca. Rebecca, how are you doing?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Rebecca, let's look at your profile.
Okay.
You are 36 years old. You're originally from Germany, but you live in Los Angeles. You currently work as a clinical trial recruiter. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Looking at the way you rated your personal finances from chilling to Mayday, I'm glad to see that you rated yourself as I'm okay. There is so much to this story. So Rebecca, tell me briefly how and why would you rate yourself as I'm okay?
Well, I'm okay because I just went through a bankruptcy, actually.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay. So you went through a bankruptcy how long ago?
I completed last March.
And it was like a Chapter 7
Yes.
bankruptcy? Okay, wow. Okay, so as I told you guys, there is definitely a lot to this story, but I want to start first with kind of defining yourself, Rebecca. How did you go to that point? Walk me through the story.
Okay, so I was born in Germany, in Hamburg. I moved to Taiwan when I was 5 years old, and I moved to America when I was 8. So when I was 8 years old, my parents split up. They divorced because my dad cheated on my mom. So, my mom, I just remember she was crying at the airport, and we got on the airplane, we came to America, and my dad was just gone for 10 years. I didn't talk to him, I didn't see him. I felt super depressed, and I didn't know why, what happened, but I just felt a sense of grief and depression. And at the time, my mom just struggled a lot financially, and she had a hard time paying rent. And I started selling toys at the age of 8 years old. After school, McDonald's toys, I would put in a bag that my mom made, and they were a quarter each, and I would save up all the way to $100. So I started working when I was 16 years old. I worked at an art gallery, and then just did different odd jobs, try to make money, because I honestly felt like a burden. I felt like a burden to my mother because she was always struggling, and when we go out to eat, she'd be like, "This is so expensive." She would complain about it. So I felt like that I wasn't worth the money. So that was always kind of a story in my life. You're not worth it. You're a burden. If I spend money on you, I'm going to guilt trip you,
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So I remember at one point my mom had bought me these leather boots for $100. And she was like, "You're not wearing it. You should wear it because I got it for you." And I wasted money, da da da. And then I remember I traveled to China, and I just left those boots in the bathroom because I was so tired of the guilt that I felt from her.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, that's an interesting psychology aspect. How old were you at the time?
At that point I was in my 20s.
And you still were carrying kind of that heavy weight on you.
Yeah, I felt even after 10 years, I went to visit my dad, and I saw him for the first time in 10 years.
Okay.
So I was just I already felt I was burdening him by being there because he gave me some lunch money, he had to host me and all this stuff. And it's that's my dad, right? But in my head, I felt I didn't deserve to be there. That I was burdening him, or he had to host me, and it's his usual lifestyle is actually drinking every single day. He's an alcoholic. That's his lifestyle. And for me to go visit him and burden him, that's kind of the feeling that I got growing up. And so I always felt I wasn't welcomed, wherever I went, and even growing up I was bullied. So people made fun of me for being an immigrant, for being a fob, which means fresh off the boat.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was just so tough. And then so in my early days, it formed the opinion of money for me, just like my perspective of money and how it had to do with value and worth.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that doesn't explain you going up to bankruptcy. Kind of what happened here?
At one point was like, I'm so fed up with 9 to 5. I feel so trapped because I hated it.
But you're willing to go through the struggle of not having money for anything.
I could not express myself. Like right now I'm talking, I'm able to express myself. That's like my personality. I'm a people person.
Okay.
But it's like you tell me like, okay, you can't share your feelings at work. You have to numb yourself, suppress your emotions, and get yelled at work. Like I was getting yelled at and for like not stapling the right papers together. You know, I had to like function in society and kind of ignore those emotions of like, why is my dad not calling me? Why is my dad not here? Like all those like feelings of anger and depression, like I had to suppress to work.
Okay.
And that made me angry because it was an
And your mom at the time was
injustice.
not present?
So like at that point I had already moved out.
Okay.
So I was on my own and like she was never really emotionally supportive. Like she knew that like my dad wasn't there for me, but she never asked me like, how are you doing? Are you okay? You know, are you feeling good today? How was school? Like she was just busy trying to make money for rent.
Okay.
Then we would supervise ourselves, me and my brother, by watching TV and doing homework in front of the TV.
Okay.
And so it's like super depressing because, you know, there's no adult like just nourishing you and hugging you and telling you like you're loved. Like it's like you just got to take care of yourself.
You have to grow up fast.
Yeah. And so like all those like emotions, like you start to numb and you're like, my feelings don't matter. Like my needs don't matter. Like I just need to survive.
Okay. And so now tie it for me to the financial situation that you put yourself in at the time.
Yeah. So every day it was like, okay, go to work, come back. Like, but there was a pain in my heart. And like, it's funny I'm wearing like a boba thing because every day I would crave like a boba milk tea after work. But it was like, there was something in my heart that was like, I'm in pain.
Okay.
And I need boba to soothe it.
Okay.
I didn't like exactly know why, but like, I felt like there was much more to life than just like going to work. But then as I started to try to make my own money, I started getting into debt. I was using credit cards from Cherice and different banks and things like that. And I started accruing debt. And like at one point when I broke up with my ex, I took a one-way trip to Thailand. And I was like, I need to rediscover myself.
Okay.
And at the time I was just like disconnected from my family. So I really didn't want to ask them for help. And I had like a $10,000, Nordstrom credit card. And I was like in my heart, like I just, like, I know like it sounds crazy, but I really felt in my heart, like just fuck it. Just don't give a shit and just like take out all the money from the card. And like, I like splurged. I did whatever I wanted. I went crazy. Like, then I came back and I was just like, oh my God, like what did I do?
How much did you had in debt at the time?
I don't quite remember, probably 15,000.
Okay.
I don't know exactly, but
of credit card debt?
Yeah.
But you had nothing, no money saved up to pay for it?
No.
Okay.
I think it was last year. I got a call from like attorney. They're like, there's a judgment against you. We're suing you and all this stuff. And I never took it serious. Like I actually had sheriffs come to my door, knock on the door, giving me papers. At the time, I was so like numb and depressed because like I hadn't seen my dad for a long time. I tore up the papers because I didn't know what to do. I felt lost and I was like, I'm not going to deal with it. I don't care. I tore up the paper.
Escapism a little bit.
But when they garnished like $35 from my paycheck, that's when I really noticed that, hey, there's something wrong. So I found this law firm and they
offer you bankruptcy.
Yeah. Yes. And I was able to negotiate. It was going to be like $2,000.
That's the price generally, yeah.
Yeah. But I was like, can you lower it? And so it's like, it was $1,690.
Okay.
Which is actually like a really good deal.
It's a pretty good deal, yeah.
Yeah. I started in October and then I was able to complete it in March.
6 months of the bankruptcy process.
Yeah.
Okay. So you had to go to court, present your case, or did they represent you all the way?
Yeah, they represented me all the way. And the cool thing is like, yeah, there's a judge that will ask you questions, but it's on Zoom. So what they had me do is show up to their office, and they had a tablet. You know, at my appointed time, the judge asked me questions. They had already trained me and taught me what to say so that I didn't like mess up, you know? Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. How much debt do you had at the time?
I had $28,000. Yeah.
So you've been continuing to stack up. Okay. So judgment comes in March, 6 months in the process. What's the outcome?
So, I mean, it got completed. Like,
wiped out.
Wiped out, yeah. Like all my accounts and my lease, my car lease.
So you get a second shot at life pretty much.
Yeah.
Your credit score at the time probably shot to like the 400s
Yes.
immediately.
Yeah.
Today, I think, what is your credit score today?
681.
Okay. So that is where kind of a component around the credit score itself. On paper, 681 is pretty good, right?
Yeah.
But then they scroll down through the report and they say, there's a red alarm that comes in, bankruptcy.
Yeah.
So that can, prevent you from certain options like rent difficulties. Sometimes it can impact job. But I mean, in your case right now, you don't even have a 9 to 5. But how has it impacted you? I mean, you're a little bit outside of the system in a way because, your living condition. I mean, how do you live right now?
Okay, so a month ago, basically, my mom told me she doesn't want to live with me anymore.
Why?
So she just like wants me to like move on. I mean, obviously, like I didn't.
36,
Yeah, we never really had like a good relationship. So I wanted to mend that. And honestly, she's like the only family I have in America. Like my brother disconnected from my family, so I haven't seen him in 3 years.
Oof,
yeah.
Okay.
So I mean,
and now
like,
your mom's asked you to get out of the house?
Well, yeah, because she found like a new place for herself. And then, to be honest, my boyfriend had been living in front of my house for 2 years, like in his car. So obviously, like she didn't really like him. And
so did you end up moving in with your boyfriend?
So I asked him in the beginning, I was like, hey, look, like, do you want to get an apartment together? You've been in the car for 2 years. Let's maybe try to like live together. And also, like, I am at a point where I want to get married and have kids. Like, looking back, my life has never looked normal, right? Like, I would backpack to different places. I've been to 30 countries and stayed like at 100 hostels. Like, I've met people all over the world. And like, I don't, it's like my life has never looked like other people. But there was always a part of me that felt like if I just got married and have kids, then I would feel normal or I would feel complete. So I asked my boyfriend, do you want to get a place? And he said like, I don't really want to. I want to keep saving. And gradually I kind of went along with that and said, you know what? Like, I don't really want to put down a deposit either. And I don't have like stable income where the landlords would approve of me renting anyways.
So you've been living in a car?
Yeah.
Okay.
For about a month, yes.
Okay. Thank you for walking me through all of these emotions and kind of all of this, kind of story behind all of this that really shines the concept around this channel. Behind every number is a story. And I will take that into consideration as I think about a plan that is specific to you, Rebecca.
Okay.
Let's transition now together into your current financial situation. Let's look first at your income and your assets. A brief apartheid to let you know about this week's sponsor, Fees. Here, I want to address individuals that are interested in either building or strengthening their credit score. Fees is a debit card that has no fee, no interest, and they don't do a credit check. And you may ask me, Romain, how the heck can I build credit score on a debit card? Well, let me tell you how it works. Fees connects with your regular bank account. They check how much is on your account, and they will allow you to get a certain credit limit. Every day when you use Fees, all of your expenses are paid automatically, and this prevents you from overspending. Fees does report your payments to all 3 major credit bureaus, and this allows you to build credit as if you were, using a normal credit card without the risk of overspending. A bonus with using fees is that they allow you for cashback opportunities. Now guys, look, this should not encourage you to overspend. No. But like any expenses, it's always good to have some cashback opportunities. And so this could be a win-win. All information will be available in the description below. If you sign up with my link, you get an extra $10. So I invite you to check them out. Thank you, Fees, for sponsoring this video. And now, guys, let's get back to our content. So in terms of assets, well, I mean, it's pretty simple. Here I see on your checking account, you're reporting a balance of $431. But you also have a saving at around $7,000, precisely $7,052. Do you have any like investment accounts, brokerage, any of that?
No.
Retirement?
No, I have a laptop.
Okay. Well, that's fair. And clothes, I imagine, too.
I mean, I think that could sell for like $1,000.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have a car neither?
No.
Okay. So that brings your total assets right now at 36 years old at $7,558. Okay. Let's look as well at some of your income. So you work as a clinical trial recruiter.
Yes.
It's not a 9 to 5.
No.
What is it?
I recruit people to be on clinical trials. And clinical... Why do you make that face?
That's not easy. I mean, you have to convince people to come on things that are, you're the first kind of, guinea pig, huh?
Okay, so the reason that it's not as scary as it sounds is because a lot of the trials are like phase 2 or phase 3.
Okay.
So they've already been tested on like thousands of people like in the first phase, and as well as animals. So like rats and stuff like that. And so like there's a ginseng study, so it's like super natural.
Okay.
So it's a supplement, it's totally natural. I mean, people buy and spend hundreds of dollars.
Okay.
And then
how much do they get paid?
So like for that trial, you'll get $525 for 4 visits. So the first visit you get like $75 and $150 for the next.
How much do you get paid?
I get paid $50 to
per referral.
To
how do you find people?
So I am part of different Facebook groups and I will post about the trials. I'll post on my social media like Facebook, Instagram. And then also whenever I take Lyft or Uber, like I will talk to people about these trials and I will tell them, hey, like I recruit people if you need money. There are so many people in LA that freaking need money. So honestly, to them, they're just like, it's easy money. Like, there's an anxiety trial that pays like $1,300. So instead of like working, they're like, oh, I get $150 for like sitting there for 3 hours while they ask me questions. Why not? And I have friends that have diabetes and the medicine they're taking, it's helping, but they want to see if other medications also help. Okay. So, it's advancing science and medication world, but it's also like helping you if you have, like for me, I have like high cholesterol. So then like, different things like that.
Okay. So how much would you say you average per month?
I would just say $1,500. Yeah.
$1,500. Okay. So together, that brings your current income at 36 years old, Rebecca, at $25,714 per year. When we look at the median in the United States, 50% make more, 50% make less. For your age bracket between 35 and 44 years old, it is at $61,360. Now, on paper, this may sound alarming, but when we look at some of your expenses and running costs, you're not too bad, actually. We'll be speaking about that.
Yeah.
But that is because, again, you are living in your car and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Do you feel content about it?
I feel like the whole, like when I told you I'm okay, like that's kind of like how I feel. But it's more of like emotionally, like I don't always feel happy knowing that like my mom kind of disappeared on me. That's kind
disappeared on you?
Yeah. So like after she moved away and she moved to another city, like I try to call her and I've been trying to call her every day and like she's just not picking up. She's chosen to disconnect from me. And
so your father disconnected, your brother disconnected, your mother disconnected.
My dad actually still talks to me. Like we reconnected, I think it's more of like shocking to the nervous system, where it's just like everything you know is like stripped away from you, and it's more of on an emotional level of like, these people are my family, I thought, but they're just gone. I think in my mind that she's like bawling, like she's like in a really nice apartment or whatever, like maybe like she's in a really nice place and she knows that I'm staying in the car with my boyfriend and she doesn't want me to call her for help, or, you know, she's just trying to like make me be on my own, basically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. Now that we know a little bit more about your income and your assets, let's move on to your expenses and your debt. Looking at your expenses, look, guys, it's going to be pretty straightforward. You don't pay a cent for rent. That brings your housing expenses to 0% of your income. Okay, cool. In terms of car, you don't have a car. So, well, that also kind of brings it down. But I believe that you, do you help for like gas or insurance or any of that?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your boyfriend is not asking you for that?
Well, okay, because I feel like it's his and he's been living in it. Like he doesn't need to pay rent and he hasn't been paying rent for 2 years. So I just kind of feel like, okay, well, you know, it's not that much to cover, I feel like.
Okay. Okay, I will account for this into my equations.
Okay.
However, if I look at some of your transportation costs, most of your spend is happening on Lyft and Uber, 16, 54, 91,
Right.
71, 62, 71. What's going on with all of those transportation costs?
Okay, I know that it sounds like crazy that I'm like, for some reason, it's like, okay, I'm not willing to like pitch in for gas, but I'm willing to pay for Lyft, you know? Like, it doesn't make sense. But to me, like when I'm on my own and like, you know, honestly, like I do still go through depression and anxiety because like my dad's gone and like now my mom's gone. And so like for me, I really appreciate being able to talk to people on Lyft or Uber and having that human connection. So to me, it's almost therapeutic.
Okay. Are you a good driver?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You will see. What I'm doing is building.
Yeah.
It's a Lego that I'm doing in my head myself, so that when I come to the recommendations, I speak to Rebecca.
Okay.
I just don't speak to an average person that I have no idea.
Right.
I want to speak to you when I think about what I will want to recommend. Okay.
Okay. Because like a part of me feels like I might know what you're gonna recommend, but anyways.
Okay.
And then I already have like a comeback for that. So.
All right.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts.
All right.
Next thing is you spend a little bit outside as well, but not too crazy on like Ross, you know, H&M and so on. But you have to live for the most part. That has led you today with $0 of debt. No student loans, no credit card, no personal loans, no mortgage, nothing. Which is nice to see. Okay. So that currently brings your net worth. I mean, you have a little bit of credit card, you know, like a couple $100, but you're going to take care of that every month. And I've been seeing this in your recurring payments. So I'm not too worried for that. You're not going to stack on interest. But that brings your current net worth at $6,750. Counting for about $808 worth of credit cards. But again, it's your running expenses that you're going through for the month. I'm fine with that. So that's pretty good. You don't have a pet. Insurance is covered by the government.
Right.
I mean, you're not spending much on anything, to be honest. That's why when I mentioned earlier the income of Rebecca is that your day-to-day life in California is almost peanuts. But at the same time, you're telling me that this might not be the most optimal mindset and place you want to be in. So we're going to have to think together as to how we can potentially adjust your situation with the cards that you have in hand, okay? But first, I want to bring you to a physical representation of the amount of money that you spend on something that could be avoided, okay? Which brings me together into our next segment, which looks at the money case. As we think about the money case together, I want to bring this to your attention.
Okay.
As this is going to be a crucial element when we think about your recommendation section that's coming right after.
Right.
You spend almost nothing except for Lyft and Uber. Looking at your expenses on ride transportation last month, how much do you think you spent?
Right, like a few hundred.
Yeah, well, no, more than 100.
Yeah.
More than 300.
Yeah.
More than 600, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Last month, you spend $665.
Yeah, that looks like a lot.
On ride.
Right.
That is 44% of your income. In a way, I understand because you're living in a car, so you don't have housing expenses. You need to go around. But is it the most optimal? Let's look at this now that we think and we transition together into our next segment, the recommendations. My dear friend, you are 36 years old and right now you have not set yourself up financially in the way that you should be at 36. I'm not here placing any judgment on your situation. I'm looking purely at statistics. Today, it's okay for you to live in a car at 36 years old, but think of the 10 years older yourself that wants to have kids, that wants to be married, that wants to do all of this. Looking at my first set of recommendations today for you to assume your needs, okay? And I'm accounting for a little bit of Lyft and so on because that's something that you need.
Yeah.
In a way, it is about $750 per month. Okay, so that is peanuts because you spend your food at Walmart. You don't really go out that often. You know, you're living off pretty much nothing. A little bit of personal care and so on, but that's about it. For your phone, I believe it's your mother that also pays for that. So for the most part, a lot of your expenses are covered. You don't even pay. You know, there is no real spend, right?
Right.
When it comes to your wants, you know, at this time I'm providing you about $100. We'll discuss on that. But I don't think that's really where I want to dive into right now when I think about your recommendation. Because this time I'm going to make it a little bit different. I'm going to bring it to a more emotional-based recommendation. Because in a way, numbers for you right now don't really mean much. You don't connect with them. And I'm hoping that you will be receptive to all of this.
Okay, sure.
I think, Rebecca, it is time for you at 36 years old to realize that you're not a burden. You're not a burden. In every way, even when we chatted together for you to come to this show,
right?
You had to say, oh, wait, let me check with my boyfriend. Let me check with this. Let me check with this.
Right.
You somehow, to me, feel that you've always lived in the shadow of something else. You've kind of excluded yourself in the shadow to the point at which, okay, I'm done, shadow, and then you explode. And that brings you to go to crazy trips on money that you don't have. Okay? Because you can only push that burden, that emotional tax on you for so long, and then it explodes. Okay? So today, you've put yourself in a situation where you feel pretty dependent, right? You have to live with your boyfriend in his car and so on.
Well, it's not that I have to. Like, I want to live with someone. I don't want to live on my own because I've lived on my own before.
Okay, so let me think about this. I personally think that you need to start building the Rebecca. You need to start building yourself as an individual because at 36, right now, with much respect, your life is a little bit all over the place. So you need to place a trajectory on you. And how do we create that without having you to rely on the 9-to-5 system that is going to block you down? This is what I would do. Number one, I would stop completely all of those Lyft expenses. Well, this is how you do it. You are going to have to go buy yourself a car. With the savings that you have, I want you to go on Facebook Marketplace. You search for something like a Mitsubishi Mirage, who is going to give you 35 miles per gallon. That's going to cost you $6,000. And you're going to start driving Lyft and Uber. It is going to allow you...
I knew you were going to suggest that.
Okay. All right.
And I've done it before.
And what happened?
I don't like it.
What do you mean you don't like it?
I don't like it because after 2-3 hours of driving, I get dizzy.
You can't match the 9 to 5 mindset. Okay? You want to stand up on your own and be a person, like a true leader of your own trajectory. But in a way, you're not willing to put the efforts when there needs to be made. There is only so many cards that can be played for you, because at some point, how long are you going to be able to pull all those gigs left and right? So what I'm thinking is we need to find some stabilization. And there is a way for you to get your independence, because I need to drastically reduce your spend on Lyft here. You're spending a crazy amount of money, Rebecca. It's almost 50% of your income. Mathematically, it doesn't make sense. And over time, it's going to bring you into further, financial uncertainty in the way you're presenting in yourself today. I want you to find, for once, your independence. And maybe it gets you dizzy, okay? But you can alternate like 2 hours in the morning, then you take a break, then 2 hours in the afternoon, then you take a break or something along those lines. It allows you also to pursue some of the other aspects of your life that you've been trying to push. In the meantime, it also allows you to reflect to the situation and the relationship that you have with your partner. I'm right now not encouraging you to have a place on your own yet until you start building a buffer, okay, a financial buffer. And man, are you not like tired of like being always piggybacking of your mother apartment, your boyfriend car, and so on? Time, Rebecca, to get the courage to stand up on your own. And you've made the basic requirement to have a decent saving account that's going to allow you to get in the game. I want you to get in the game, because when you think about your Lyft as a driver, yes, it gets dizzy. It allows you to sell your clinical program and so on. So you're double dipping on two aspects that you can make money off. And on top of that, what I think is going to happen is that you're going to finally start to build something of yourself that matches with you. Because I do not want you to continue living in a car. I think that this is a transitional period. But over time, I think you're going to sink yourself further into the state of mind that you're in today. And I want to light a little bit the fire of Rebecca no longer being the burden or big impacting of someone, but building herself. So on paper, you can do it, because you no longer have the debt burden that you've created. You have the cash to buy a car. You're going to generate your own income. You're going to double dip on your clinical trials. And ultimately, you're going to be able on your own. And I want this to be yours, to find a place where you can start creating a life. From that point, you're going to create a stability that works with your time. And you are going to be the one that's going to be able to define your trajectory. You've lived off the system and you benefit from it with the bankruptcy. That's fair. The page is turned. But you need to get yourself back into it. Because at 30 years old, with no retirement and $6,000, with a credit score that has a bankruptcy, on paper, Rebecca, it is not great. But you need to take action. And you have the chance to do that. Once you start establishing income on your own, you're going to get into the groove. But if you continue in the stream of behavior that you've been maintaining, you're just going to put yourself further in a hole of a vicious circle. And I don't think that you're going to find a solution to it. Because when a discontent happens and you put yourself in a situation where you don't find an outcome, something needs to change. If you're not willing to take the change, you forever stay in that loop. So something needs to happen. And to me, personally, I do not see right now any other form of recommendations that would apply to your case, because this is going to require some efforts. But I can see a future with this, because on paper, I would tell you, Rebecca, get your butt ass to the workplace, go get a 9 to 5. But you're going to tell me, Romain, fuck off, that's not me. Right?
Yeah.
But this, I'm sorry, matches every single aspect of what you present yourself as. And I can almost put it on paper. Based on my experience and people that I've interacted over the years that if you're willing to follow the step of something like this, in 1 year, Rebecca, you can be a complete different person. Because for once, you're going to have the grasp of your life. You're not going to become a freaking burden or piggyback of someone else. And finally, you're going to have control as to how you want to make decisions. And not being on the phone like me when we had it to chat for you to come. And every single time that I ask you, are you going to come? You're going to say, well, I have to check with boyfriend. I have to check with boyfriend.
Because the thing is, like, I want to do things with him. Like, I don't want to just do things by myself. I used to be alone a lot. And, like, I went everywhere by myself. I traveled 30 countries by myself. I don't want to do stuff by myself anymore.
And in this scenario,
yeah,
I'm not saying to stop with your boyfriend. I'm saying maintain that, but you get something built on your own. Build something that is Rebecca's. Darren, for once.
I feel like my career I've built on my own. Like, it's not something that I pick it off of him. If anything, like, I am the one getting us a lot of gigs too.
I hear you.
Yeah.
But how do you feel about this? Something needs to change. And you don't have you could very well get back to the workforce, but it's not going to work for you. How do you feel about this? Because think about it, mathematically, you're very frugal as a person.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. On that behavior, you're not spending on Starbucks or on DoorDash or on that BS.
Right.
So you have the right financial mindset. You're missing the effort part to get yourself into the system. You need to get in the system. You adjust it, you make it your own, but you need to get in the system. No retirements at 36 is awful. It's awful. You have nothing to rest on. And you have cash available for you to take action. What do you feel?
Do I have to, like, agree with you?
No?
Okay. I mean, I might think about it, what you're saying. I don't totally agree because in my heart, like, I could feel my heart, like, hardening and feeling like it's not something I want to do.
So what are you going to do? Because you've been living in this state of mind.
Yeah.
For a decade now.
I want to continue, like, listening to what I call, like, the Holy Spirit and, like, being led from my heart. And even though people may feel that it's not practical, like, it's what emotionally that I feel that I need.
Why isn't this bringing you the right set of emotions? Because it matches everything that you've been telling me.
Because I don't
Why
want...
does it feel off? Because
I don't want to drive, like, for a living. It's not something I want to do.
But I'm not telling you to drive for a living.
Yeah.
I need you to take those steps first. Maybe for a year.
Yeah.
You have a fire, but it's not lighting. You have the chance to put a little bit of gas on this fire. We need to light Rebecca back.
Yeah.
And this proposition here lights in the sets of conditions that you've been telling me through your stories.
Yeah.
So why? Why?
Well, I mean,
why not taking a shot?
Okay, I mean, like, me and my boyfriend were thinking about getting, like, a camper.
Okay.
So, like, a bigger vehicle. But, like, I mean, I have a lot of ideas in my head of, like, even renting a house and, like, doing Airbnb in it.
Yeah, but you can't do any of this. I know I rent Airbnbs.
Yeah.
If you don't satisfy the basics. You need to satisfy a set of basics.
I think,
to
like,
give yourself a shot at those projects.
I think it's just because, like, with the clinical trial, I feel like it's meeting the financial requirements that I have.
You're making $1,500 at 36 years old, Rebecca.
I'm not sitting there, like, worried about it. I think, like, it's not... I think for some people, it's like they need, like, a certain amount of money to feel safe, but I don't really find safety in money, though.
Yeah, but you're telling me you're not content living in a car.
Like, I'm not sure what I'm supposed to look for to be happy.
Mm-hmm. But if you're not willing to take a try at something different, maybe that you don't expect this, maybe does not speak to Rebecca today.
Yeah. Well, maybe I will, because, like, maybe if we break up, then that's what I'm going to do. But, like, right now, I feel like our life is together and I want to, like, be together.
But that doesn't prevent you from doing this. I'm sorry, that does not prevent you from doing this. You can very well drive around, you have
Yeah.
your car next to him, and you come back to him in the evening.
I think because like for me, it feels like a burden to buy a car, to have a car, to maintain a car. And it's not a responsibility that I want right now. But like I said, you're the expert, so I will think about it, spin it in my head, really, really think about it. Because like I said, my trajectory initially was to get married, have kids, and
But for you to
that.
do that, you need to present yourself the best way.
But like I said, like there are a lot of opportunities that I take and continue to risk and take risks. So I'm willing to try anything,
So you're gonna do it?
I will think about it.
Percentage. Give me some percentage from 0 to 100.
Right now, to be
How
honest.
confident are you that you're gonna do it?
I feel like 20% because like I put in minimal amount of work and I like that I don't have to work that much. I don't like the idea of like putting in a lot of work and getting little back. I don't know. I just like love traveling and doing things. I get it. But I mean, I will definitely think about it and like give it a shot. Like if it comes to that day, I would call you and tell you like, hey, I did this thing. But I just like, I don't feel like I'm picking back off of like my mom or like my boyfriend. It's like, I was so independent growing up. Like I started working at 8. I had savings, like everything. Like I like did all that, and it didn't make me happy. Like money didn't make me happy. Security, like having my own apartment, having my own car, like that shit didn't make me happy. Like what makes me happy is love and like being able to be embraced. Like my happiest moments is like when I cuddle with my boyfriend. Obviously, I have doubts about our relationship sometimes, as everyone does, but like. It's like when I feel my heart and my emotions, that's when I feel happiest. I feel like a billionaire when I feel my heart and my emotions and I'm able to not be numb.
I just feel like there needs, in the world, there needs to be a form of balance.
Of course.
And extremes are generally not the preferred ways.
Of course.
And today, Rebecca, you have the youth. And the next set of decisions that you're going to make are going to have a drastic impact on the trajectory of your life.
Right.
And I still believe, as I mentioned, that there needs to be some form of balance.
Right.
Especially in the capitalism system.
Right.
That requires you to partake into the system. Else, you're going to end up like... You could potentially end up like people that I see here in 50s and 60s that have decided not to partake in the system.
Right.
That's it. They just, what do you want to do then? We had someone 67 years old having to go back to work and so on. And yes, this may seem like a long time, but I can tell you so many times have I had people coming and say, I wish I would have taken this decision, I would have been more cautious about it. And while I understand your spiritual journey, and I respect that from a neutral perspective, I still truthfully believe that you need to engage in a form, maybe not this route, with the system so that you can build something. So, yeah, it's
really nice that like you care about your people. So, I mean, I can definitely feel that. So, it's a good thing.
I'm intrigued as to the next steps that you're gonna take.
I feel like almost like touched in my heart because it's like you don't even know me, but you like care about me for some reason.
Yeah, it's that's what I do. I'm coming here from a place of wanting to help you out, Rebecca. Like I'm coming here from an exterior perspective, and that's probably why also, like 9 out of 10 people that have sit on this chair have improved their situation is because I'm truthfully here, bringing myself into who is Rebecca? How does she feel? And what could potentially enhance her life situation and the mental stage that she's in. So, and I'm all about taking shots, taking risks. You see what I mean? And I feel like for once, I want you to take that shot, you know? And I want you maybe for once to not trust 100% yours on it. Mm-hmm. But trust the advice that someone here, I have no interest, no financial interest in like other than wanting you to freaking make it and to find the peace that you've not gotten in your childhood, in your relationships, and just finally being able to be Rebecca that you deserve. So that's a little bit about my take on your situation, Rebecca. And I'm not offended that maybe it's 20%, but at least for an instant, for the hour that we've spoken together, I was able to bring you a third perspective, something to think of. And who knows, maybe you may take this decision, or maybe it's going to bring you to something else, but at least for this hour or so, you were able to have someone that objectively looked at your situation and looked into that. Okay?
Thank you.
Do you have any final words as we wrap up our discussion?
I think, like, to me, like, the reason I cried wasn't so much like, oh, here's like an action step. It was more like, you're like so passionate about like helping me and caring for me, and I'm like why does he care so much, you know? So that's why I was like really touched emotionally. And like, I think all my life, like, I wanted people to just show that they cared. Mm-hmm. So it's like whatever happens next for me, as far as like, I feel like God always brings me different opportunities and blesses me, and like, it's never in the ways that like human beings think it will come about. But today you showed me that you cared, and I think that's what matters. So I really appreciate you, you know, showing that level of care for a stranger, and yeah, I appreciate it.
Of course.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Look, guys, we'll be for sure following up with Rebecca and the different decisions and the next steps that you're going to take. It was a pleasure having you on the show, and I thank you for opening up to me as well. If you guys like this form of content, we invite you to subscribe to our channel as well as liking. This helps us tremendously. Until then, I see you next time. À bientôt.
This is Romain. How are you doing?
I'm good.
I'm happy to have you back on the phone. It's been a little bit, I know.
I know.
You know, at the time that you came, you had just moved in with your partner at the time, Jake, in the car. Do you still live under those conditions?
Yeah. We're still in the car. My mom still hasn't called. I'm happy with what I'm doing with like the clinical trials, and I feel like it's more profitable to do that than like waste energy doing Uber, and then like it's not really something I want to do. So.
Okay. So when it comes to your financial situation, have you been able to improve it?
My spending has probably decreased. Also, I was able to get a credit card where I got like $200 back. So I pretty much got like free money.
What are you doing during your days?
Just different things depending on like, you know, how I feel every day. Every day is like different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some of the things that we mentioned was potentially to reduce your cost of transportation. Have you been able to work on that, or are you?
Yeah, there's been like there's certain cities that have like cheaper transportation. Like they have like transportation deals, so like it's like $3 for Lyft ride. So I take like my transportation in that city.
So not too many improvements, my dear friend Rebecca.
Well, I mean, I don't think everything is about money, you know. It's not always about money. I feel like to you, improvement has to do with just money. Sometimes it's about learning to express your emotions or, like, building friendships. So to me, like, I have made an improvement.
Okay,
so, yeah.
You're bringing some very, very interesting points. I don't
like,
mind you challenging me on that front.
And to be honest, like, I don't want to, like, I remember you saying, like, oh, you have to be, like, in the system. Like, I don't want to be in the system. That's why I'm in an SUV with my boyfriend. I don't want to compare myself to other 30-year-olds. I don't want to live like other people. Like, I don't want to be in the system. I'm setting that boundary to be like, hey, this is like my life, and I want to live it the way I want to. So, I mean, to be honest, I think I have more savings than most people my age. Like, surrounding me. A lot of people around me are like broke. I get to like do whatever I want most of the time because I have a lot of like more free time than other people, and like I like it that way. So
okay, how would you rate your happiness nowadays, Rebecca? Like every day you wake up, how would you rate your happiness?
I mean, like I think like happiness isn't just like, oh, like I'm happy today or whatever. It's like I'm happy when I'm with Jake, and then I'm happy when I get to cry my tears, and when I feel sad, I release my emotions. Like that's what makes me happy. It's not whether like I wake up happy or not, because there are days like I wake up kind of like scared, or I wake up feeling like, oh, I don't want to say what's on my mind. So I think it's like a fluid process. What makes me happy is what I want to do. To you, it might not be an improvement, but I need to follow my heart, you know? Like, I'm living my life. No one's living it for me.
Okay. I think it's very fair, Rebecca. You're bringing a good perspective. I just want to, make sure myself that you're able to see both sides of the equation is what I'm raising. Again, you're raising some fair points. I think, we agree to have a different perspective, but I respect very much your way of looking at things. I'm glad that I was able at least to provide you for a glance again, kind of a third perspective and just, seeing how does the system interacts from, again, my perspective, but hearing from what you're telling me, I do acknowledge your point of view and I respect it.
Thank you. And, like, I respect your point of view, but also, like, there's, like, probably different factors that play into, like, people's happiness. It's, like, I don't necessarily need to have, like, millions of dollars, and it's, like, that's when I'm happy. It's, like, I want to, like, enjoy the present,
Excellent. All right. Well, Rebecca, it was a pleasure speaking with you. I'm learning, from our interaction together on my side as well. So I appreciate you from also opening my eyes in certain ways. I appreciate your opinion. I appreciate your time, and I wish you great luck for everything. Okay?
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate you like checking in for sure.
Awesome. Have a great rest of your day, Rebecca. Take care.
Okay. Thank you so much.